I got a little rant on the Christmas tradition, whereas it
You
was
got a
always
rant for everything.
I do. So when I was growing up, it was always a Christmas story, 24 hours of a Christmas story,
Hmm.
and then they started changing it. They changed it to what was it? A Christmas story, Christmas Vacation. I mean,
Yeah, National Lampoon. Yeah,
yeah, which I couldn't stand. Now the new thing is they're doing um, Elf.
I do not like Will Ferrell. I
I
just don't think he's
never
funny.
liked that movie. I had never seen it. Don't care to. Same thing with the live action Grinch. Don't like that one either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the changing of the guards. I guess I'm not
Mhm.
saying for the better, but they just I don't know. I saw that 24 hours of the Elf, and I was like, oh my god.
No,
I'm sorry. I
I'll
like
be
Christmas
honest.
Story so much better. I'm the
I'll be
Christmas
honest. I
Story
kind
guy.
of, you know, I kind of don't like Will Ferrell for what he did to Land of the Lost.
It was funny.
That no, it was a sacrilege.
It was funny. It was funny, but um, I don't know. I never was a National Lampoon's Vacation fan at all. So I was always with the Christmas Story, and now with Elf. Nah, I'll just give me the original. I'm good. And before you all, well, Don, you would know. It was It's a Wonderful Life. You watch that all the time. So
Fun fact:
No.
during high school, we did a "It's a Wonderful Life," and I had to be Uncle Ben. And
Hopefully, it was that Uncle Ben and not another Uncle Ben. We know
no,
what happens to that other Uncle Ben,
true.
and I don't mean the one that makes the rice.
no,
I was gonna say, did you make Sage Advice?
it's kind of
No,
nature.
I think he made sage with rice with sage.
Which
That's the
fight me,
other.
but I'm sorry, but you have
Yeah,
Sage Advice from Uncle Ben, and you get Sage Advice from Ben Kenobi.
Hmm.
There's a lot of Bens going around.
Hmm. I actually work with
going
one
on,
at the
going on
comic shop.
around the bend.
He's the same age as I am.
Yeah.
It's
At
like
this
having
point,
two of us around.
you got all these bends. It's like Ben 10.
Hey, don't knock Ben 10. The actual
I'm not. I'm not.
it was good. I didn't mind that
The
cartoon.
original. I enjoyed the original one.
Yeah, the
Series was
original's
good.
what I'm talking about. Yeah, it
The
was
first
good.
series was good. After that, not so much.
Dude, did you realize how much those toys have gone up in like value?
Yes.
Very,
It's
Yes.
especially the first series.
As soon as
First
as
series
soon as
end of
as soon as I find some of mine, I know I've got buried away in the building. They're going on eBay.
there's like I think there was three series,
Mhm.
and it's like the last series of the last wave of the first one are worth like
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Yeah. I think that's the one with like Lucky Girl and Ultra Ben. I think it's that wave.
I can't remember, but I know that they go, and it's like I remember they reminded me of like Hero Clicks with that little. It came with a
I've got that.
little.
Yeah, I've got
It
that
goes on the
Omnitrix.
watch. Yeah,
I've
Hero
got
Clicks.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've got that Omnitrix somewhere.
yeah, and the little things that plug into it, and guess
Yeah,
what
that's
that
the one.
was? That was a gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of gimmicks, we're going to be talking about gimmicks tonight. Um,
Past,
gimmicks,
present, and future.
past, present, and future. I had a friend of mine send me quite a box of cool stuff. Here in a couple of days, the video will be up for it. But I'm not really sure which Megatron this is. I'm sure you guys know. But it comes with this little ball that reminds me of Bakugan.
Yeah, that. Okay, can you turn them over? Yeah, that was from the Transformers Robots in Disguise. The sequel to Prime. And they redid that character as that Megatron supposedly from Transformers 1. So it's a recolor, remold of a Robots in Disguise 2015 toy redone as Megatron.
That's a mouthful.
With a shooting out little Bakugan looking thing. It looks like a laser beak or dragon or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's in Transformers Prime. It was basically their mini cons. Because you had a version of Drift that had 2 mini cons, and then there was a like his Decepticon rival had one as well. So yeah, it was kind of like blending the cassettes and the mini con gimmick.
Interesting. I had no idea where this thing was from when I got it. I was like, I know it's newer, but what is this Bakugan looking thing? Because I know I'm kind of familiar with Bakugan. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a toy line that came out. What was that, like around 2010, 2011, something like that?
That's been out
mid-20s.
forever and a day.
Yeah, it's been yeah. But little magnetic, the little ball things actually had like a little magnet in them, and you'd be able to roll them over a card, and the card would actually activate it and cause it to spring open into whatever creature. So,
Or you could just drop it on the table and they popped open.
That's
it's
sort
of like a weird version of Yu-Gi-Oh, but with balls.
Mm-hmm.
Yiggity.
Well,
or you could just walk in the middle of the night and step on one and it'll cut you like a Lego. That's cool too.
I mean, this in here hurt quite a bit. It's got quite a few little spikes sticking out of it. So, yeah.
That reminds me of a meme I saw where it says the final weapon against Godzilla, and it's a flatbed truck hauling a giant Lego piece.
Yep.
Saw a comic strip I think one time that had Godzilla stepping on a Lego factory, and he was like holding his feet. I'm like, yep, that's about right. Here he is. His little bird mode, dragon mode, whatever. It's kind of funny. I dig it. It's cute. But anyway, talking gimmicks, the Transformers universe has actually been plagued with gimmicks from the past. What's your guys' like the very first gimmick you guys remember them really trying to sell us, other than a transforming toy? Like,
okay, I was gonna say that in itself is the original gimmick.
Right.
Is that?
But like added on to that.
So it's something that didn't come maybe originally, that came later to get you to buy the new wave of what's out on the shelves now.
Well, it depends on how you define gimmick, because if you look at the decoys, they were the first thing bonus you could buy on the mini bots.
Are you sure?
So that or the patch? No, the patches came a little bit after that.
The iron-on patches?
I believe they came. That was the Prizes in Disguise game. They came with the glow-in-the-dark poster.
So that would have been right around the movie.
Yeah. So I think, and I remember the mini bot, well, no, I'm sorry, no, mini spies.
Mini spies, yeah.
Mini spies came. Mini
Mike
spies.
Boyle
but
in chat just mentioned mini spies.
Yeah, but now here's the thing. Are we talking? It depends on how we're defining gimmick. If we're talking something that the toy has either built in or included as a feature beyond just having stuff.
Okay.
Because those could be considered bonus offers.
Oh yeah.
All right.
The mini spies. So it's a gimmick to get you to buy the toy.
Yes.
But it's not a gimmick for the toy.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So when I thought about this, my thought pattern was, what is included to get you to buy the toy?
Or what the toy does.
So I'm not talking about some of the, like Armada had spring-loaded this and that. But like for that line, they did mini-cons. and that was their selling point, was it came with a mini con, and then you could buy extra mini cons, and then it became part of the storyline. So you sold the story, which sold the toys, by the gimmick. Along those lines is what I was thinking.
Well,
So like yes, like your mini spies from the early days to get you to buy a toy because you got an extra toy, and then later on the iron-on patches to get you to buy the toys. To me, those are sales gimmicks,
hmm
and that's what I was, because I was thinking, because what started all this is I happened to scroll through eBay and I saw a whole bunch of mini cons the guy was selling, just like his whole collection. And it got to me remembering. Oh yeah, I remember when those came out. That was like a big selling point for the toy. Your toy couldn't do anything unless you collected the mini bot or mini cons, and that was a way of getting you to buy more. And then you could accessorize them with extra weapons and everything, and you could do all this thing. That's a sales gimmick.
right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was leading on this, because then I thought, okay, well, there's people out there that just collect the gimmick. I mean, there's people out there that just have a collection of mini spies,
hmm
patches.
Well,
I'm sure.
there's some people out there who know that like the battery operated stuff, like Omega Supreme, Tripticon, they walk on their own. They actually have moving parts that move by themselves. Skylinks is a big one that a lot of people tend to forget about. They actually walks too. Those are interesting because they are actually the gimmick. The toy itself is the gimmick, and I think that's
you could
really
argue
interesting.
back and forth on that.
Yeah, like they do transform, but it's kind of like like Shockwave. Shockwave was a blaster that made noise. Same thing with Galvatron. Any toys before that really didn't have any sound boxes or
Sure.
battery operated stuff like that. Those were the very first ones. And that kind of got incorporated later on to like you were talking about, like with Armada, where you take the mini spies and or the not mini spies, but the mini cons and plug them on. But if you got Optimus Prime himself and transformed him in sequence with the trailer itself would automatically transform in such a way because it was battery operated. So battery operated gimmicks really kind of, I want to say, really started with those in the 80s, and then through the 90s we had the light and sound power packs for all the G2 stuff. I'm trying to remember, are there any Beast Wars that had that?
They had
Well, I
what?
mean,
Lighting?
the auto transforming on Wave 1 was a gimmick.
Right.
Mhm.
But I'm talking
Yeah,
about like battery
put 'em
operated for
flip-flop.
Beast Wars. Was there anything like that?
The play sets from Japan, the diver set,
They had batteries.
they had batteries.
Oh, I mean, think about this. I can't think of any other. Can you think of another uh, transformer that was a water fountain? I can't think of another.
Well, G2 Megatron
No, I mean like
was
an actual fountain. That was
yeah.
one
No,
of
but
the
I'm saying as
basic-
far as I'm saying his gimmick was lights and sounds with shooting missile. So that was a gimmick, and then he became Was it Megastorm
Mm-hmm.
in Beast Wars, whichever? Because I can never keep the two
and
straight.
Gigastorm. Then you had
Gigastorm,
Gigastorm,
yeah.
which was the repaint of Trypticon.
right.
But I'm just trying to think, like, outside of those, were there any, like, I'd say more American side, like, not exactly universal, like, more international,
you had,
like, something here in the States.
Primal Prime. Primal Prime had the light up, which is also for Optimal Optimus before that. Optimal Optimus, and then repainted in the Primal Prime. It was your bigger ones. So I'm trying to think if there was any other, because that was oh god, that's machines, but Supreme Cheetor, our favorite. There's that.
Don's favorite, you mean?
Yeah, but you figure the price points on those were a lot bigger. I mean, even if you go back, and this was one thing I thought was kind of interesting, is if you go back and you look at the original Transformers, and you talk about the motorized action, this, that, and the other, well, Omega Supreme, well, that was the first. Well, that's because they were looking for a price point of a toy that they could sell and market at this level, and Toy Box just happened to have this motorized tank that turned into a robot, and they were like, got it, we're going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought it. And there you get Omega Supreme. So then you get lights, and then you get sounds. And, then Triptychon comes. You got another motorized robot. So those type of gimmicks to sell the toy, but also to sell the price points.
Mm-hmm.
To hit those price points they want.
Like like we were talking about when it comes to motorized, like pullback. The earliest ones
Yep.
were the mailaways, the 3 mailaway, the drill dasher, the race car.
Twin Twist. Top.
Did those come out before the mailaways?
Yeah, they were first generation.
Okay. I wasn't sure if those actually came out during the mailaway age or not.
And the funny thing is those were price point. The price point on those was just below the cars and above the mini-bots.
Yeah, they were like right in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were awesome, and then they had the 3 mailaways.
The Power Dashers.
Then all the mini spies, every one of those.
Mini spies.
But I can't think of other than Runamuck and Runabout, those 2. But yeah, just trying to think like motorized action for G2, or not G2, but all Generation 1. I think that was about it, wasn't it? I don't think there was anything else that was like a motorized gimmick that I can think of.
I mean, if you want to get even more basic, rocket firing missiles for the Dinobots.
Yeah.
That was one of the earliest gimmicks that the toys could do.
Well, they were all neutered, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never fired.
Well, I don't know, because maybe I had a bad, improperly modified version or something, but the missile for Sludge on my Sludge actually fired.
It's a Diaclone launcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do not. They were neutered. They literally. There was the tension on the spring was just enough to hold the missile in place.
Yeah, I think it was Sludge, but one of my Dinobots does that will launch a missile.
Well, the other thing is literally if you took it apart and stretched the spring out, you could probably get it to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean that's before they actually pulled the springs completely out of them, though.
Yeah. See, to me, when you say gimmick, I think of the best thing that I can think of as a gimmick are the mini-cons, because the entire toy, for good or for bad, was built around that gimmick. And personally, I wish there were Armada toys that I never bought, because the gimmick completely ruined what could have been a good figure. It's like, I believe it was Nightbeat.
Thrust.
Prime.
Sideways. It wasn't Sideways. The Sideswipe.
Yeah. What was the blue car that had the giant mono foot? Was that? It became Oil Slick in the 2-pack with Crystal Widow. But
it had the motorcycle.
Yeah, that was an absolutely
was that Tread?
Horrible.
Tread?
No. I don't.
Wasn't. It was, anyway, the thing that got me is like they did the Prime, where it had that auto transforming,
Oh, I mean that
Fan.
was in.
horrible, never worked right,
Oh
big
well, I
piece of
mean,
garbage.
yeah. The thing is, when we went to BotCon in the one that was held in North Carolina the one year, out in Durham, someone found. I think it was that show. Anyway, someone found that Optimus on the way into BotCon, and they
Mhm.
had it out in the lounge, out in the hotel lobby, and we were just amazed because it was transforming back and forth. So yeah, just
It's just think about how wonderful that was, and now we got Roboson.
oh
You know,
yeah,
the auto
yeah,
transforming
Optimus
everything.
Optimus rolled so Robertson can walk.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Uh, God, you got me bugging on that. Wasn't Nightbeat?
I want to say it was.
I don't.
Was it Nightbeat, or was that the name of the motorcycle?
I think that was the name of the motorcycle.
I think it was the name of the motorcycle, and I can't remember the name of the stupid car. But I know exactly what it looked like. It was blue and had a yellow body, and you hit the little button, and it flipped out, and the little motorcycle popped out. Yeah. And then they
Yeah,
changed
no, it was
they recolored.
Sideswipe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it said
Was the
Sideswipe.
motorcycle?
yeah,
Was the
yeah.
motorcycle?
I thought, yeah.
Was the motorcycle Nightbeat, or was it Nightstick?
No, the Nightbeat is the motorcycle. Sideswipe
It was
is the car.
okay.
It was
All right.
yeah. But this is back when they were just reusing names.
Correct.
Mhm.
Got to keep them.
Gotta keep them all.
That's right.
That's how they keep the trademark going, by just throwing a name on whatever. That
So-
actually happened a lot with the minicons. Minicons, they just kept tossing names on those.
Anything.
Leader one.
Well, don't even get me started on the
Leader one.
supply changes and everything else about reusing names and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Jazz there and all. But one of the things I felt that was interesting is you think about like, let's just go with the mini spies. Everyone knows mini spies. It was one of the first, and it was a gimmick to get you to sell, and they kind of pushed it into the storyline with a 3-second ad
Hmm.
saying what they were, although you never saw them.
Although
I think
the
they did show
animation
up
was
in the
better
comic
than the
book.
actual cartoon. That was what was crazy about the ad.
But then people got them, and then they found out there was variations. Then they found out there was variations on the variations, and there's different wheel spokes. Everyone said there's 2 wheel spokes. There's actually 3, so there's even more. So the people are collecting them, and then so that's what got me to thinking.
Power of the
someone wants
Force.
it. Oh yeah, transition tray short. Yeah, don't get me started. Got it.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, so there was it worked. It worked. People bought the same mini bots that they already had because it came with another toy.
Hmm.
So the line was successful. That gimmick was successful. If you look at carded figures, and I could be wrong, but I dare say there are a lot of carded figures. There's very few that have the mini spies still attached. But you can still find them with the iron-on patch attached. Was that not as successful? I don't know.
I mean, I think Iron Arms were somewhat successful. Some people collected them, but I mean, I don't think a lot of people actually used them.
Oh, Hasbro thought they were wonderful enough to include them in with the Rattler as a tier.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Another gimmick I can remember, pre-rub, and the rub sign itself was kind of a gimmick. That was brought in for
I always thought the rub-
authenticity.
Well, I always thought the rub sign was more along the lines of a throwback of the G.I. Joe. You know, when they started making fake Joes, and then they had to put
Yeah. Well, I
the
mean,
star on his face and all that, and we got
Yeah.
to brand it. Okay, well,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing was there was so many transforming robots out there, and they hadn't seen anything like that since Cabbage Patch Kids, and even Cabbage Patch Kids did not have. There was a flurry of similar dolls, but I think it was easier for parents to keep track of what a real Cabbage Patch Kid was versus what a real Transformer was, because it was so. It's a transforming robot. It was to the point where it was kind of like all tissues are Kleenex,
Hmm.
or all photocopiers are Xerox. You know, it was getting to be the point where they had to make the rub up symbol, because you couldn't copy the rub up symbol, because then that's something definitely you can get sued for.
Hmm.
It's something very specific to Hasbro properties that you can't say, well, ours has a heat. You know, it's like, no, that's the same thing. You know, versus we're making a generic transforming robot. It's kind of harder to say, like, well, we make robots. Well, they can make robots too. None of their robots look like your robots. So I mean, you know, but yeah, the rub up sign was definitely a gimmick.
it is. But my question to you would be: do you think that gimmick was more so to sell toys
I think
or
it
to
was to
prevent copyright?
I think it was to I I think it was made to increase sales, but not in the fact that it added value other than, I want a transformer. This has the rub up sign. That means this is a transformer. So it prevented them from. I think it prevented them from losing sales to other companies, because it made it. This is a transformer trademark TM versus, oh, I'm going to buy this because it's got the cool rub sign. So I think what it did, it was made to prevent losing sales, and so therefore it did increase sales, but not because anything it was doing other than saying this transformer is a real transformer,
Mhm.
not them guys across the aisle.
Yeah, I think it
That's the
had definitely had a twofold, with the sales being a byproduct
Hmm.
in thought. Because I think the first and foremost thought was we got to stop the copyright infringements. We got to stop people from copying what we're doing. So we come up with this, and that way we can do that. Well, then it became something that, oh well, you will not buy that if it doesn't have that. Mom, don't get me that unless it has this, and then you get the increased sales.
Which would make 100% sense for somebody that really wanted something that was authentic. Um, Another thing that I think is completely lost art, which has kind of come back, sort of,
I guess.
color changing gimmicks.
Problem is, if you look at your G2 color changers at this point, again, that's 92, 2002, 2012, 2022.
Hmm.
I mean, you're looking at how many years at this point? They were never meant to work properly for that long.
No.
Well,
But
none of the toys were made for that. I just thought
right,
I thought of something that's a gimmick that came before the mini spies. That came before the rub signs. Robot points. Same thing as flag points.
Oh, yeah.
exactly,
100%.
exactly. You're right.
How do you
It
get
was
them to? How do you? What's a gimmick to get you to buy more? Collect them, and then you can buy stuff. 100%.
That's how you get your Omnibots. That's how you got Reflector. That's how you got that
Right.
really, really rare
Power
wristwatch that a lot of people don't have.
Reflector.
The
Oh, and
wristwatch.
don't even
What
get me
was it?
started on
Oh
all the
yeah,
different variations of the regular
Time
mainline
Warrior.
ones
Time
and
Warrior.
well, you had your mainline, like even your jets, but the mail away ones came with different tech specs. Mini bots. Heck, try and find a mail away uh, Cosmos. You're gonna pay an arm and a leg. Is it the same toy? Yep. Is the tech spec different? Yep. costs you a lot. Simple piece of paper.
Yeah, I can see that. One thing that I thought itself, just the whole line itself, that was a whole gimmick, was when the Micromaster came out. I thought the whole thing
Yeah.
was a gimmick
I mean,
because
I
the small bases.
Micromasters was a 100% play off of Micro Machines.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They saw the popularity and they jumped on it.
but I mean,
I
that's
would-
only smart. That's smart business. I
It
mean,
is. I don't know if I'd call that a gimmick, but I guess it could be.
I mean,
It's just.
Well, it's
I'm
more
gonna say,
like
yeah. I'll say yeah. It's a gimmick.
yeah, it's yeah. Again, it all depends on what your definition of gimmick might be different than my definition, which is different than if Sideburn wants to hear his definition.
Sure.
Because everything, if you look at it from the initial being a robot that transforms to build a figures to the entire line is a gimmick, depending how you think of a gimmick should be defined.
The fact that you're selling a toy to a child, but no, you're selling two toys in and of itself is a gimmick.
Mhm.
You let's just say you have, I don't know, you're right next to Star Wars figures and there's a droid there. Okay, you get this droid / robot, whatever you want to call it.
Is that the droid
But
you're
next
looking
to
for?
it, but next to it you have a robot. But then you also can turn into a car. So now you get two things for the price of one. Yeah. It's all on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, and the problem is,
You start that up, then Jason's going to yawn again. Then it's my turn,
sorry,
and it just keeps going around and around.
Well, I work retail, and we're 2 weeks out from 2.5 weeks out from Christmas. We're busy. But here's
Get
the thing.
those shelves stocked for us.
Yeah, I wish I pull the stuff off the shelves. I don't put it on the shelf.
We can tell you what to pull too.
I think anything that is not the robot itself has to be considered a gimmick. The robot itself, though, might have gimmicks built in, like Armada Red Alert. Even without the mini-con features, he has the changeable harms. They store inside the door panels. He has the light and sound built in. I think you can still trigger it without the mini-con. I'm not sure if you can or not. I don't remember. But everything that is not the... I took this robot out of a package, okay?
Mhm.
This robot here is Blast Off from Magic Square. This robot does nothing but transform into a space shuttle, and then it turns into a giant arm.
Mhm.
So the only gimmick you could say this has is it's part of a combiner. So the gimmick is combining, but in and of itself, yeah. But he has no gimmicks built in. But if you had a gun that launches a missile, or he had a cargo bay that deployed a spy satellite, that could be a gimmick as part of the toy itself. But it also may not be a gimmick because if that's what it's supposed to do, it's part of the toy. So it could be either way depending on your point of view.
I would argue with your one point on that is, and you saying that the toy in and of itself is not a gimmick. I'm going to say yes, it is, for the simple fact that not all of them can become combiners, and that one can be.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. In and of itself, it's a robot that transforms. That is a gimmick overall. It's a robot that transforms and combines. That is a gimmick overall. But he doesn't do anything else other than that.
No, I see what you're saying, accessories and everything. But then you can go even a further step back and say triple changers. That's a gimmick.
Exactly.
It doesn't transform once, it transforms twice.
And then
let's
you
get
have
a six shot. Oh my God.
Now you have Target Masters. The
There you
gimmick is the little guy becomes a humanoid figure, and he becomes a gun. This guy becomes a spaceship, a very weird looking spaceship, but a spaceship nonetheless. So I mean, it's there's the it's such a broad definition of what you call a gimmick, but it all boils down to is, does the gimmick help the toy, and not help as far as sales, just does the gimmick make the toy more fun or more interesting, or would it have been better left off completely and had a
Perfect.
better toy?
I love that question. And the one thing I'm going to ask you all is, in my opinion, that I think that the mini cons overall did more as a gimmick for helping the toy line, the storyline, than any other gimmick they've done to date.
Possibly.
I don't know.
I'll be honest. Go ahead.
It was like it was a gimmick that was the core of the whole line.
Well,
But go ahead. Go ahead. Jeff.
for me, if we want to look at stuff that's more modern, the weaponizers. Thought that was one of the best gimmicks they came up with, because you didn't just use them as weapons. People actually used them to build complete new characters. So in a whole lot of ways, it was actually a very, very, very good line because of that specific gimmick that spread across the entire thing. That's still actually going to today, which I think is great. I personally think that, as a modern style gimmick that is affordable, that doesn't take away from everything, because you still can transform them into robots, but they also break apart as weapons or armor or whatever. I honestly think that was a good gimmick. I thought that was excellent. But that's just me, because I was just 1 second. That's just me, because I'm also one of those ones that enjoyed G1 Metroplex for the fact that you can take the combiner limbs and plug them on to actually add shielded armor around him with the combiner limbs. Thought that was cool. It's a early version of weaponizing, which I always thought was cool.
One of the things that would add to that, in my opinion, just by noticing, going back to the mini cons, some of the most successful ones, if you look at the mini cons in themselves, were the ones that did become the weapons, the shield, and had more play value towards the storyline. So I agree with that you can't just put a gimmick out there and leave it. It has to be essential to the storyline, to the figures, to the characters, to move the story along. And that's why I think that and I wasn't a big fan of them. I hated the mini cons. I thought they were dumb. But overall, it made sense. It moved everything along. It was smart. Yeah, you got your Prime, but you don't have your Skyboom shield or your what was that called, the Star Saber. You had to buy them separate. Well, I gotta go out and get them. Great idea.
So Don was going to say what he wanted to say. Let's hear what he has.
Yeah. I was just going to say, the mini cons, I think, were, like Megan was saying, it is the thing that I think sticks in everybody's head when we think of Transformers and gimmicks. I mean, you've got Pretender Shells, you've got Target Masters, you've got Headmasters, but I think for a certain demographic of our hobby, it is those mini cons that firmly cements the idea of what a gimmick is. Problem is, there were so many figures that the gimmick hampered the toy from being good, like the Sideswipe toy. Scavenger is better, but using the minicon to launch the missile is extremely awkward. there's just a lot of Armada toys that Hot Shot, for example, that even now, when they redid Hot Shot a couple years ago under the Legacy banner, well, I think it was the Legacy banner, and they included the Minicon, although he didn't do anything, it's still it's an impediment to enjoying a good. The toy is compromised to incorporate the gimmick. I personally
There's a
do
lot
not.
of them like that. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to see Minicons come back if the toys are going to be compromised to make the gimmick work. I'd rather have a lower price toy. Let's say $34.99 versus $39.99 if you include a Minicon. Just saying this, throwing out dirty numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather the plastic and the budget be used to make that toy better and not have to have a $5 Minicon and a toy that doesn't feel like it's worth the money because you have to make the gimmick work. Or not work, but at least activate or do the thing. Even if it doesn't well, it has to do the thing that you're saying it does. And I don't want that. I'd rather have a $35 Voyager that is a better toy without a gimmick than, oh, look at all the stuff it does if you plug your little guy here. Yeah, but you lose articulation, you lose this, you lose that. Your paint budget goes down because you have to allocate towards that. You know, I'm fine without having a lot of gimmicks in a toy if it means I get a better toy. But if we're using Red Alert as an example, look at the new Red Alert and Flatline. The boxes are ticked for what you can do with the toy that kind of mirrors the original, but it's completely gutted. All you have are allusions to, you can swap the parts on the hand, but that's all you can do. Everything else is alluded to, except for the gun thing, of course. But again, you're not going to get that better toy because of the current pricing structures, the current tariffs, and all that. So the money they're saving by not doing like on this Red Alert, they're not doing a Minicon. They've alluded to all the stuff the original Red Alert done in a toy that's half the size and more expensive. It doesn't do anything. It says, hey, we used to do all this stuff. Here's the proof that we used to do it. Another example. Look at the new Armada Megatron. That was a $45 figure, $54 liter price point, the Megatron and the Galvatron. Everything that the original Armada toy did is alluded to. But it's a very disappointing toy. I got mine for $25 and feel like I still overpaid for it. Because it doesn't do anything new. It doesn't have the gimmick, but it says, look at all the great stuff we used to do. Again, on a figure with less paint, less budget, no actual working features other than a little thing here or there for $55.
It
So
sounds. I mean, to me, I agree with you on this, Don. It's like a watered down version of something we used to have, but they added articulation, and that is the gimmick now. It's an articulated version. I'm personally when Vector Prime came out, the new one, it looks cool, but it still made me miss the way the old Vector Prime looked.
yeah,
It made me miss, how everything used to work on that toy with the planet keys. Planet keys was a big thing. Override was kind of weird without a planet key. She was a very odd one without the planet key. She looked almost identical and acted almost identical to the original, but there was so much that they took away.
Yeah.
And I really don't like the idea that not leaning into those kind of gimmicks on the higher end toys, because that is who is actually buying them, are the people that had the original or wanted the original but can never get it.
Yeah.
That
And the only reason I bought that Megatron is, again, we talked about this like pre-show. Things that go together that aren't meant to be sets, but you kind of gotta have.
You kind of
It's
got
like, yeah, it's like you gotta have Starscream, Skywarp, Thundercracker, Thrust, Dirge, Ramjet, Shrapnel, Bombshell, Kickback, Armada Optimus, Armada Megatron. Kind you don't need them. We don't need none of this stuff.
mm-hmm.
But if you're going to have them on a shelf, you kind of got to have them there, or it feels wrong. And that is what gets me most of the time, is like, I don't really like that Megatron. I got it cheap only because I need it, so when I do my Armada display, my Neo Armada display, it'll look right. And it's just there for balance.
So thinking about gimmicks, we had what's it called, Cyber World now that we have, and
Yeah,
then we
yeah.
had Wild King that's over in Japan. Those are your gimmick lines that are out now. I would say are actual gimmick lines that are based on an interesting gimmick, kind of a combining gimmick, which I personally like. I like the idea that they gave lights and sounds to that Scorponok. It doesn't transform much, that's okay, personally, because of how big it is. I wouldn't want it to be too crazy anyway. But do you guys find these lines more fun and alluring than just something that's an articulated robot that you're going to buy?
I haven't. I actually bought the Scorponok. It was on sale at Target for $30, and I'd watched reviews and I thought, I'm going to enjoy this because it. I know it's a gimmick toy, but it does a lot. But it sat there in the box, and I looked at it, and I thought, if I'm going to enjoy this Scorponok, I'm going to need more of the Cyberverse characters to interact with it. That's not really my thing. That big Optimus Prime they came out with a couple of years ago from that Cyberverse, and all that you could put in all the Legends class figures in. I never bought that because I didn't care about that kind of interaction. So I took that Scorponok back. I even had bought a couple of the Prime, the Megatron, to interact, and I'm thinking, this is not really me. This is not. I can enjoy a younger aimed toy because I can appreciate it for what it's trying to do for that age audience. But the more I looked at it, it's like, this is like $55 even on sale. I got everything for less than what Scorponok would have costed by himself. And it's like, this is going to sit in a box. It's not going to get played with, and I'm going to regret not ever taking it back if I keep it past the return period. But I just took it back, and I haven't really even thought about it since till you brought it up.
So what do you think of the stuff that's come out that's gimmicky like that, Brett?
Well, so I sit there and think about like the newer stuff that's coming out where they redo the old characters and the gimmicks are gone, and as with everything else, the gimmicks are gone, the price goes up. But I look at, when I first saw the toy, what was the thing I didn't like about it? And if the thing I didn't like about it is because it was hindered because of this gimmick, I'd rather not have it. So, you think about, I mean, I'm trying to think in my head the ones that bug me the most, just like, like one of the ones that bugged me was the Armada Starscream with that big old long backpack.
Yeah.
That would not collapse because of the spring gimmicks and all the other stuff. Well, they redid it. Like it was Thrilling 30s or whatever it was. They made a smaller one. But what did it do? folded. Look better. Okay? Not quite as much as I wanted, but I would do without the gimmicks. And I am the guy that I would rather do without the gimmicks and get a more articulated figure. And one of the gimmick sets out now, Missing Link. I love it. Well, why would you pay for the same toy? Because it does more now. It does what I wanted it to do back in '83. You know? That's what I want. So this new stuff, I have no desire whatsoever. I'm not in with this new, what's it called? Spark, whatever. I'm just not into it. So, I sit there and wonder, okay, like, what are they going to do next? And maybe they will. Maybe they'll get something that to me will knock it out of the park. For this one, this was a swing and a miss. But that's just for me.
I'm trying to think, like, back when we had a whole lot of like Prime. When Transformers Prime came out, there was so many different kind of gimmick things they did with that line. The mech tech weapon being brought in, where it was like an auto transforming weapon that lit up sometimes. I think that was extra plastic they could have used elsewhere, just didn't incorporate well. But one of the ones I actually thought was kind of interesting was almost like a throwback to the Trigger Cons, where you had that that Optimus Prime that had the guns and such that came out of his shoulders, and could also be used in vehicle mode too, that popped out and popped back in. I honestly think that was a very good gimmick that was integrated correctly, more in the more modern sense, and also still gave you an articulated robot. Although it was a little more pricier than what most people wanted to pay, I personally think it was one of the better modernized gimmicks that worked, that didn't really take too much away. Like, I don't know, like when the Beast Hunter stuff came out and they had that wheeljack that shot that disc, and the disc opened up and you're supposed to clamp it around like a character or whatever. In some ways, I kind of wish that was just like a grappling hook. I wished it wasn't like a thing you had to manually open. It shot well, like the friction fire worked fine. But like Shockwave coming with that weird rubbery kind of armor. You know that rubbery armor is just hard to keep track of. Like nowadays, that stuff would not probably last well. But that's all it was like a really weird rubbery armor they threw on him. They could have gave him like a different weapon. Or I don't know, give him a light or something in his cannon. Would have lasted longer.
That really reminded me of, I just had to pull it. Yeah, Megatronus. The new Megatronus. And it's got those stupid little fiery things that plug on. Yeah. And I think they're absolutely worthless. So I agree with that.
I mean,
did it add play value to me? Not really.
Well, that and blast effects, they're good if they don't use fused to the toys. If they were more of a solid kind of plastic instead of that rubberized material.
Yeah, but that's an afterthought.
Work better.
It's an afterthought.
It is an afterthought. But the thing is, you're catering toward people that do photography more than actually pose these trying to blow each other up on the shelf.
Okay, well then you come out with a thing of blast effects, wrap that in with a display stand and sell it separate. And knock the price down a little bit. I mean, those trains that I bought, the price point on those, you can't tell me that all those tracks and stands and all that stuff didn't factor into that.
Well, you know? A carryover gimmick that they're even doing nowadays, even with the Star Convoy that came out, was the fact that it could combine and plug into the Earthrise Micromaster weaponizer sets, and that Skylinks, and how they can plug into Omega Supreme and the Fort Max, that whole like ramp connectivity. That itself is a gimmick, and a good way to expand on your stuff. But I think if they would have, what would you guys have felt if they like released like a road pack for that? I think some people would have ate that up because they want to set up cities for their vehicles to
Oh,
interact
I,
with.
I I do not remember people going nuts over MicroMasters because the little ramps connected.
The
It
well
was an option.
the Siege Micromasters were a major disappointment, and I'm afraid for them to go back and try that again at this point if it's not, because there's very few of those Micromasters I actually enjoyed, and several of them will not stay together when you transform them. They will literally just crumble.
Yeah, the ball joints aren't very good.
Yeah, and so it's like I don't, like I said, I don't want to see Micromasters. I don't want to see mini cons come back because I'm afraid the budget is already being looked at so
Microscope.
specific. Microscope, thank you. Uh, because of trying to fit these toys in these price points. We're now looking at Voyagers for $43, and I'll just say one word: Bruticus.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
I don't see a gimmick being brought back right now because it'll mean the toys will be more simplified, which is fine if it's the kids line. But if it's the lines that are being mostly targeted for us and they're made less paint, better, less quality plastic, more hollowness, anything to get the price down to include whatever this gimmick is going to add to it and make the overall experience maybe not cost any more, but it may be more disappointing for what you actually get in service to the gimmick. I'd rather just have the best toy we can get at these prices and don't worry about it. The gimmick needs to be a good toy. Paint, plastic quality, articulation, less hollowness. I don't mind a little bit of hollowness. You do what you got to do. I don't want the entire backside to be a waffle. You know,
Yeah, I can understand
I
that.
love I love Waffle House for waffles. I don't want
I
my
do like
collection to
waffle.
be I don't want my collection to be full of waffles. So I don't want to buy upgrade kits to fill in those waffles.
So I think first and foremost that the toy should not suffer from the gimmick. I think we can all agree upon that. And as far as them coming out with a new gimmick, you're worried about the price going up.
Or
Well,
the
what
or the figure
the
quality
quality
going
going down?
down
Correct.
to incorporate the gimmick.
Right. You have a sliding scale of one. You have quality, and then you have price, and you don't want either one of those. I get it. So what? Why can't we just go back to collect points, do the old mail away, get a figure, get that nostalgia back? Doesn't cost much. Get you out there buying. If the figure we're talking about is actually
Yeah.
good. But yeah, something that's simple. Go back to basics.
Yeah. I agree with you. That would be cool if you could actually do that. But I think nowadays with the technology at the point it's gotten to, creating fake robot points,
Yeah,
finding way,
I know.
finding ways to circumvent how you get the stuff. But also the fact is, it would be like you're doing a BotCon toy, and Hasbro was already so fickle about doing BotCon toy production. You saw what Lenny and everyone else went through to get those toys year after year. And bless my heart, for all of our issues with Brian Savage, his team did try their best to get us the best toys, what was available from Hasbro year after year.
Hmm.
And I think that still needs to be given credit to them for all the work that they had to put in, give us the toys that we did get.
I
But
mean,
going back
yeah.
to but going back to that and doing a limited production run, like for example, if we could get, we talked about this on RFC, if we could get the Slag and the Snarl leader class Dinobots in reverse colors, because those two came in both red and green. So if we can get another production run done in those reverse colors as they are now, yeah, I would love to do something like that, because it's a mold that's already been done. The box is done. You're just changing the plastic color. But that's a limited production run for a very niche thing. How much will it cost them, and how many points are we going to need to get that?
Yeah, I think you're going a little high on that.
I know, but I'm just saying as an example. It would have to be something
Sure.
really
Well,
unique that.
one thing, like, if you look at the modern packaging nowadays, right? They've even gone down to the point that they're not even putting bios on the boxes now. I don't see them wasting the time putting robot points because people don't even really care about box anymore. What they care about is the figure itself, like us collectors. And I don't mind the robot point thing, but honestly, I'm just looking at it realistically. They couldn't pull that off, especially with the way things are nowadays, everything being so digital. And I think that's part of the problem right now is how, like, if we're gonna talk about gimmicks, looking at what they're doing right now for modern stuff, like, we want to see certain things come back. But how is that going to stay relevant in today's landscape? Is the problem. Like, how do you keep Transformers relevant compared
I
to
mean, that's
everything
been
else
on
that's
their
going?
that's been on their mind for years. Every time they come up with a new uh, series,
Hmm?
they've got that in mind. So, I mean, of course, that's just the way it's going to be. But let me ask you this: going back to the robot points, and I know that they can circumvent it and all that. But what if, like, the mailway was the missing tech specs? Something as simple as that. I would want that. I would collect something like that. I think it'd be pretty neat. You
I
got all these toys out here that don't have tech specs. You make it so that you mail in and you get the tech specs.
that
Can't
or
be that expensive to make.
I was thinking just not just you can actually go a little further than just tech specs. I'm thinking posters of some of this beautiful artwork they put all this time and effort into to throw in these boxes that literally
Oh
end
yeah,
up in
that
the
would be.
trash. Why not just do posters?
Yeah, I would love to see an art book of all from seed all the way up to the current level legacy, because some of that artwork. And here's the sad thing: packaging. Aaron Archer said packaging cost is anywhere from 20 to 30% or more of a toy's final retail price. Yet, what do most of us do with the packaging?
Toss it.
We throw it away, and recycle it. It's not that we don't. I mean, we don't appreciate the way it looks, but in our collection, we can't keep. Now, there are some figures I have duplicates of because the box to me is a work of art. The packaging, the layout, how it looks, things like that. But it's like the inserts, the stages that we got for the longest time with Studio Series.
Yeah.
I would have loved for them to have, after the first wave or two, completely drop them stages in all size classes and use that money to go towards toy, or not rate, or use the money savings to not raise the prices as long as possible. I think that money could have been spent elsewhere. I love what they wanted to do, but I've not talked to anybody that I can recall that actually uses those stages for their intended purposes.
No, but here's an idea. You talk about the box artwork and the artwork that's on this and everything. Backdrops. Make backdrops.
Kind of like what was the Netflix ones
Yeah.
that came out that gave you
Right.
the arc. I personally wish they would have just continued doing that in every single solitary figure.
Change
that
it
came
up.
out.
Do anything like that. Sure. What's the one thing that ultimately every collector wants? They want that display. And how do you enhance a display? Oh, well, you go to Amazon, you buy the lights, and you buy the display
Or
case, you buy the
then you get a
rice.
toy, then you get a toy hacks, and you get the backdrops and the stages and everything else.
Right.
Again, I'm gonna name drop Bobby Skullface. I like Bobby. I've watched a lot of his videos. His collection critique videos have helped me formulate some ideas better about when I'm able to work downstairs on my collection. But if you look at his collection, he has done a lot of the work himself, but he's painted backdrops, foam boulders, displays of the arc with the mountain and the river and the trees, and that is so much more effort than I am capable of giving from an exhaustion standpoint and a skill standpoint. Because I failed high school shop, folks. I ain't making so.
Did
But
he
yeah,
squat?
you're right. I would love. I've joked about this for years. They do a big Power Rangers toy. You cut the box, you flip it inside out, and on the inside is Tor, the Shuttle Zord. And boom, you've got a cardboard box that's a giant turtle, which is what Tor was, basically a giant box that you carried your Zords around in. That the Dinobot set a couple years ago, that was the big San Diego piece that you unfolded it and it became a base.
Oh,
and
the Dinobots.
That thing still
Yeah.
goes for a lot of money in the aftermarket. Just that box alone does, just because of what
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, with the printing costs being so, I would like to see, like, on your Titan class figures, if they could print the inside of the box that you could unfold, but it might mean like the box would have tabs that you could cut to unfold and become the diorama. But the printing cost alone would be astronomical. It'd be even worse than the stages. Because you've got printing on the outside, all this printing on the inside. I don't think there's a win-win for Hasbro to do that. Even though, that's why I'm saying, give me a coffee table book of the give me a book of the Super 7 artwork for Transformers. Give me, a Hasbro for all this. If they did a book of artwork for Siege all the way up to current, I would buy that. I'd probably buy it hardcover. I may not look at it but once every 6 months, but it would be nice to see all this pretty artwork and it not be a pile of boxes. Well, I'm going to, Plasticon, you'll probably, and well, you too, Megamus. Brave. Specifically, Sonicon Brave. Huge boxes, beautiful boxes, artwork, product shots, absolutely 90s perfection packaging. How big are those Korean Sonicon boxes?
Enormous.
They are enormous with a capital E. There's no way to display them unless you do what I've done, because I cannot make myself get rid of them boxes yet. They're flattened. They're completely unfolded, flattened, and pushed down inside of a box. Because I cannot make myself get rid of them, but I can't display them.
Well, I will say one thing. I think, like, I was going down the aisle at the store and I saw Star Wars figures. And I looked up, and on the top shelf, they didn't have them face front so you could see the character and everything. They were just sitting up sideways, because they don't take up much room. They make a connecting mural when you get all the characters. So there was thought put into that. It was, how do you get them when we know that people don't always have the space to put all these boxes flat, face front, side to side to make a mural. Put them on the side. Put
It's
them all
kind of like,
together. You get your mural. It's a good idea.
it kind of reminds me of back when they did the book reissues, where
Yes.
yeah, and the way they did the book reissues actually made it look cool. If you had to display them sideways on the shelf, it actually
It was.
made them
They
look
weren't.
nice.
They weren't a continuous, but they
Right.
had the same uniform of number 1, number 2, number 3, so that you knew this was a series.
Hmm.
And that was actually the reason that they're called Takara Book Style, is because they were like books. You put them up on the shelf, and you can look at the spine, and you knew this is number 1, this is number 2, and so on.
I'm wondering if they got
good idea.
inspired by Robotech, because remember Robotech did those book
Yeah,
style.
that was Toonami
Yeah.
that did which came with the ultra sweet cells that you can't find, which was another great idea. Those were neat, and I had some of those for a while, and yeah, you could put those, and they looked almost like books. You know, they looked like the spines of books, and they had like volume written on them, like volume 1, volume 2, and really, really a lot of work went into it, and they looked really good.
And they were also made so you could put the
with
figure back
space
in the
in mind.
package too. They weren't stuck in there with one thing, and this is kind of a side tangent. Stupid little plastic strap being in here that holds these things in. Why the hell don't they just go back to the paper ones? That's stupid.
those-
You can't reuse them. You can't put the figure
The
back in here.
Robotech ones were clamshell, and they even had a little hole at the bottom so you could put your finger and push and slide out the tray so you wouldn't damage it.
Mhm.
It was made to be taken in and out and displayed as a book.
Which was a gimmick.
Great
a
idea.
good gimmick in
Sure.
itself. Packaging can be a gimmick. Now, one thing, I got a friend of mine that let me borrow this. I haven't gotten around to it yet. That's one thing that really disappoints me, because this is all held in with the little plastic straps.
See,
These
beautiful
aren't
box.
gonna. This looks beautiful like this, but after I
Absolutely.
open it and take the figures out, they're all just gonna sit in there rattling because they're not actually in individual trays. That's the problem. This
Oh
is
my
modern.
God. Go back to styrofoam. Ooh.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, everything on this package is beautiful. I love it. But I guarantee you, when I open it, these guys are just going to rattle and fall around the bottom. Because
I give you a
they
perfect
didn't
example.
give you anything good to set them in.
Perfect example of what you're saying is true is when they came out with the reissue of Devastator in the gift set, and I picked it up and felt it, and it felt cheap. And it may have been that the toys were a little cheaper quality. I don't know. I didn't do that, but mine had a big chunk of styrofoam in there to hold all the figures in there, and it looked good sitting on the shelf. And then you could take the figures in and out and all that. This new one, it's like, it just doesn't look the same. It didn't present as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I get that. Yeah, clamshells and everything, you're just not going to get the same what we used to have.
I mean, even Generation 2 had the clamshell style ones that you can pop open. And you could close
those
them back.
are horrible. Those are horrible.
I mean, they may be horrible, but at least it was reusable packaging instead of a bubble glued to a piece of cardboard.
Those
that
were
you
never
can't
made
take
to,
off.
those were never made to snap back on.
Yeah.
They broke. They were made once you opened it, it was open. It was a clamshell.
Yeah.
But the worst thing was the bubble. The stupid bubble. It's put a bubble in the front, bubble in the back. Hey, how do I display this? Good luck.
I mean,
There's
it's
really no good way to display it.
But I mean, my thing is, when it comes to the packaging, was the packaging even possibly even reusable? The G2 stuff, you kind of could. G1 stuff, yeah, most of it you could. But if it was carded, you just kept the card. The bubbles ended up in the trash. No one
I'll
kept
be
the bubbles.
honest with you. I thought the G2 packaging was horrible and wasteful. I mean, they got rid of the boxes, but then they gave us this plastic pyramid
Hmm.
that when you opened it, it broke apart. You couldn't put the toy back together with it unless you taped it. Whereas G1, you cut the piece of tape, slid it out, and you put it back in.
But I mean, that didn't change much ever since then. Like, ever. I mean, look at Beast Wars. It was a carded bubble, and that's what it was.
Yeah, because they were just cheaper. It's just like the mini bots.
Yeah.
You know, they were. I mean, Christ, they were $2.99. I mean,
I mean, as much as I love Machine Wars, once you took Optimus out of his packaging, you really couldn't put him back in there properly. You know,
yeah.
and I love Machine Wars, don't get me wrong. One of the coolest lines I think that's very underrated, but the artwork, like we're talking about, on all this stuff is extremely memorable. But it's also highly forgotten because it's just ended up in the trash. Like all the artwork.
I mean, the only thing that we could do, and it will never work because it goes against everything about retail packaging. If they went with like a generic box, like when I was growing up, the house brands were a can of green beans, white label, black lettering that said green beans.
You're talking
No
you're
images.
talking government commodities. Yes, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
those
yeah.
days.
Yeah, or I mean, or you would. We went. There was a grocery store chain called Three Guys, and they were like one of the first no frill shopping, and they had a lot of these house brands, what that we call house brands now, that was in this generic black lettering on white like if you go to Walmart and you see the 68-cent toilet paper, it's that kind of black and white basic packaging. If Hasbro did that in order to give us poster inserts or backdrops printed on the inside that we can unfold, that would be a way to do it. However, you lose all of your brand identity on the shelf because you're not looking for generic box that says transforming robot.
Sure.
I mean, I'll be
And
honest
that's
with you. In this day and age, with all the, I don't know, the uninspired Lego packaging, that's all black boxes with a few pictures of the toy itself put together.
But it does stand out because you've got the color
But it
on
stands
the
out
black.
because it's on black. They did the same.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I'm,
essentially, that's what they're doing here. But if they got rid of the artwork and it was just a black box that said Transformers, and
yeah.
it's a figure you're
Well,
after, personally, I think people would still buy it no matter what. I
well,
honestly
here's the
think it would
thing.
stand out more on the shelf because a lot of
Just
the stuff we have
imagine,
now is really, really like colorful. If it's not very colorful
just
and very monochrome, it's going to stick out more now.
yeah, just imagine going into a toy store and you're looking for Transformers, and all your boxes look like Generation Selects brown boxes.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
That is what you would have to do, bare minimum, to be able to do any of this stuff we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
to keep those costs as low as possible. And it's going to look so unappealing
Mm-hmm.
to your average consumer. It'll be like generic brown box toy. I'm not buying my kids that because it looks like it's just a knockoff or it's a cheap toy or
Right.
something like that.
And
So
why did Selects do so well? Because you already bought the toy.
yeah, because it was focused at
You already bought
us.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was just in colors that they knew we would buy.
Yeah.
I think it just all boils down to basically what we've got is what we're going to get. It's what we're going to keep getting, no matter how much we want things to be different. I mean, you can poop in one hand and you can wish in the other. Which one will get fuller?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm being honest there.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong
We're
about that.
we're going to be getting better toys in some cases. I mean, we're getting toys now that have a lot more paint than they've ever done. We're getting other toys that are just basically colored plastic with very minimal paint. Um,
And we're
so
getting a lot with gaps too.
yeah, so it's going to be a lot of your mileage may vary. If you because they're looking at an entire budget over an entire line broken down in waves, and what can they do to balance all this stuff out to make money to have these toys produced worth it. We're not going to be getting a lot of frills, but the design team is trying to give us, they're trying to complete sets, G2 Stunticons. We know they're trying. So, I mean, they're doing within their constraints that they're given by Hasbro Corporate, which is not me. Rumors aside, it is not me. We are getting some really incredible figures. Stuff that, look at that Cosmos. That Cosmos should not exist. But because they were able to find a way to do it with minimal colors, minimal molds, we were able to get that Cosmos. So I think the best thing we can do, lower our expectations, look at the stuff we're getting, be grateful, be critical if a toy does fall short. Like the upcoming big convoy looks like it has some issues, especially compared to Magmatron. Look for the pictures. That's all I'm going to say. Be calm, be reasonable, be critical when it calls for it. But I hate saying this. I truly hate saying this. It could always be worse.
It's true. We couldn't have gotten a Magmatron.
Yeah. And so the design team they are trying within their. That's why we talked about this before. That's why Hook and Long Haul had to be a Commander class set to get that Devastator. Because those figures have so much going on. Would you have bought if they were another Voyager and another Leader? But neither one of them toys would be a Voyager or a Leader. If you put Long Haul in the box with his stuff, would you feel like that was worth a Leader price point? Not really. If you put Hook in there with his stuff, do you think that would be a fair Voyager for the price? No. So they had to make it a Commander to get it done and to be worth producing. So and on the upcoming Bruticus, there are issues, and I'm sure we'll talk about that another day. Am I double dipping on Bruticus? Even though I've seen the pictures, I am, because I am a Bruticus guy. That's my favorite G1 combiner. US combiner, I should say. But am I happy? I got some reservations. So, yeah, we'll have to see how that pans out. But I think being calm, being rational, being open-minded, that the design team is doing the very best they can with the constraints given to them in a market that is constantly changing now more than ever. I think everyone needs to relax and go with the flow. If you get a toy and it has issues, call them out. Say, hey, be fair. Don't be a Richard. But point out, like, hey, this thing has some issues. I need to let people know. Sorry, I'll get on my soapbox now.
That's okay. So let's hear from Megamus
About what?
about any of these kind of small, like Don was talking about, like some of the things to be grateful for, and then some of the things that kind of have to just wade through.
Well, I agree with what he's saying. I'll add one little caveat to it in that just because you or myself may not like what's on this shelf, someone else might. And I guess be thankful that that person got the transformer they wanted.
Exactly. That's a
Sounds about
super
right.
good point.
Yeah.
That's a super. Just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's not for someone. Let them have their fun.
You'll get yours eventually. I meant that in a good way.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people. A lot of people. Okay, I'm going to try to paraphrase this so it's not. There are a lot of people out there that are heavy G1 fans
Mm-hmm.
that feel like any non G1 character, Armada, Energon, Cybertron, Beast Wars, D2, whatever the case may be, steals a slot for a character from G1 that they feel needs a new toy or hasn't been done before. If you look at the sheer amount of G1 that we've gotten over the past, let's just say 5 years, as homages, as exclusives, as whatever, G1 significantly outweighs all other aspects of the current 5 years or so of product.
Just ask
So
Michael
if,
Swift.
yeah. So if Michael gets his Razor Claw repaint, I mean, who would want to deny him a repaint of a good-looking toy? But there are people that will say, "Oh, that should have gone to a new leader class Roadbuster." That sounds great, but if they did a leader class Roadbuster, how long would Michael have to wait for his Razor Claw now?
Sure.
Yep.
But then I myself can look at the toy he's getting and can appreciate it in some aspects and be fine with that. I mean,
Even if it's not for you.
Look how long it took to get our quote unquote masterpiece Rat Trap. But we got it. Took a little longer. The other thing got pushed ahead. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but you get it. So, I mean, just because it's not, just wait. Just wait.
Because
There's plenty out there.
especially for Masterpiece, look at the total sum of Masterpiece.
Oh my gosh.
How much of that is G1 versus Beast Wars?
94%.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, this whole slot stealing thing needs to stop.
yeah, that never did bother me.
It always has bothered me because, yeah, you can kind of see what they're talking about, and I understand it's like, oh, we could have finally got that character, but then the other person is finally getting their character.
Sure.
If you're a G1 fan, chances are you will get your figure faster than someone who's a Beast Wars fan, Robots in Disguise fan. It's like comics. If you're an X-Men fan, there's a very good chance you will get a Marvel Legends of your favorite character eventually before too long. If you're a fan of, I'm using the example, Power Pack, Slingers,
Yeah, you
Jack
know.
of Heart, Jack
You
of
may not
Hearts. Yeah, I'm hoping for a Jack of Hearts in classic costume sometime before the heat death of the universe. But if I was an X-Men fan and I wanted, is it Nimrod? Yeah, Nimrod is like the advanced Sentinel. If I wanted someone like that,
guy.
yeah, I'm gonna be, I will get that figure of that X-Men character, or a Spider-Man character, or maybe a Fantastic Four character. You know, I want Power Pack. Power Pack is one of the oldest Marvel teams in the last 40 years. We don't have any figures at all other than a Franklin Richards that has nothing to do with Power Pack. So yeah, if you're a G1 fan, you'll probably get the figure you're looking for fairly quickly. All things being relative, compared to someone like me, like I want to see more robots in disguise. I want to see more G2. I want to see more Beast Wars characters.
Well,
I want, you know.
here's something to think about. You look at the HasLab, and you look at, and we talked about this before, and honestly, I cannot remember which one it was. Which character sold out the fastest and the biggest over the reserve?
Omega
RID
Prime.
Optimus.
RID Optimus. Guess what, guys? It wasn't G1.
Yeah.
So
Now,
if
I
you
know.
guys are really, really big on G1 and really want them to do it, then open up your wallets. Because that's what the RID guys did. They got what they wanted.
I got 3. I bought 3.
Oh, there you
Because
go.
that's how important. I know someone personally. I won't name names. Y'all know who I'm talking about probably. Who was initially very upset that the 40th anniversary HasLab was not a G1 figure. He was extremely upset it was RID. He felt that figure was not worthy of being a 40th anniversary HasLab.
Tell that to all the backers.
Yeah. So I'm just saying I can kind of see where he's coming from. But the problem is I also can see that there are other characters out there other than your core G1 people, G1 characters that needed a HasLab to be created. Its problems, I'm just putting Omega's problems aside with the issues and stuff, but it needed that mass, it needed that budget to be done properly. It could not be done at retail and be anything close to what it needed to be that character. So,
And as a matter of fact, because I did not get one, and I've heard of the issues that it's had, this and the other. I am still jealous and envious that I didn't get one, and I'm jealous that, to me, that looks amazing. Because I remember when the first one came out, and it looked just like that.
yeah.
But that one's better.
I will admit, if you can get a good set of the originals, don't feel bad about not getting the HasLab. But because there is so much similar between these two, that I get that. I get if you have the original, you really didn't need these. But Omega Prime is, especially Fire Convoy, is so important to me. I had to get, should have just got 2. I went ahead and got 3 because in my head, my display space, I gotta do what it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so how many RID HasLabs are we going to get?
Right.
I mean, how many? I mean, Victory. The reason they're doing the Victory because it's selling. Star Saber did extremely well. Death Stars did extremely well. Lio Kaiser, not exactly perfect. I'll admit that. The asymmetrical wings still bother the hell out of me. That's because I have the original. So we're getting good stuff. Let's be happy we're getting good stuff. And we can grouse, we can complain, we say, golly gee willikers, we're getting another one of those. Yeah, the wheel turns.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm one of those kind of people. I've been sitting on the fence, and I'm like, the only Liege Maximal we ever got was that tiny little Headmaster thing, and we're gonna be getting this new one. My thing is, part of the G2 community, they want a Liege Maximal that looks like the one in the comic. And he better be big, or at least have some kind of mass to him, because he's not supposed to be some little tiny dinky thing, especially
You don't want to
considering
be a headmaster?
he could be a headmaster as long as the head combines with the larger portion, which,
No,
according to
just
Simon Furman, I don't know if you guys know about the story arc, the story he wrote afterward that actually kind of wraps up G2. That's actually in a storybook format. Tells you that he's supposed to turn into a starship. That means he's big. That doesn't mean he's some little dinky thing. And it also, like, we talk about like G1 not getting love. Well, Dark Nova. You want to talk about no love? There you go. Like, there's characters that haven't gotten anything. But I personally think a lot of the other lines need more love. Like, I would like to see them take a crack at, you know, some of the Energon figures that didn't get a lot of love because the gimmicks really hurt them. You know, that whole gimmick where one becomes the pants and one becomes the torso. Imagine what they could do with the modern technology we have now to make that better.
Yeah,
I want to
just
see
imagine
that.
Yeah, just imagine that Grimlock and Swoop Mega Dinobot not sucking.
And
That's,
you
that's,
know
that's
it
a
would
lot.
sell. That would
That's a
easily
lot of
sell.
That's a lot of imagination, though.
But that's the point is like we all say, like what you like, collect what you want to collect, like Megamus usually says. But don't crap on everybody else's dreams. If somebody else wants something that you guys weren't asking for, it'll come in time. But
Especially at the holiday.
yeah,
People are going to be getting stuff that they've always wanted that may not be your stuff. When they go online and they say, "Oh, look, I got," okay, I don't have it up. Do I have it up here? I don't have it up here. There is I'm calling it third party. There's a third party SH Figure Art style Captain Planet. He's marketed as Planet Superman. That's how he's marketed. I wanted that since the day one. It's Captain Planet. It's not for everybody. It's for me for a very specific reason because I love the concept of the show. Execution, we all know about that. But I'm happy that I have it. And if someone else does, like, you spent your money on that? Yeah, I did. So if it's not for you, that's understandable. But especially on the holidays, if someone else posts something that they got that they love, be happy for them. Don't poo-poo on their parade. Because if you get something you like and they don't like it and they get you back, you got no reason to be butthurt. So just don't start.
it's very true. Like the people that are crapping on, oh, well, why do we have non-transforming Transformers like Red or, oh, I don't know, the new Hot Wheels that are homages to Transformers that actually don't transform.
Yeah.
Some people just want that. Let them have that.
Yeah, like Loki's and Audrey and Yellow Park. Yeah, it doesn't. If it doesn't transform, does it make it less of a transformer? That's up to you. But if it's if it gets you the most accurate representation of the character in the mode that you most associate with that character, does it really matter if it doesn't transform? If it still makes you happy and it's on the shelf and it looks like the way you thought the character always should look, so it doesn't transform. That means it can do other things that if it did transform, it couldn't do. Unless you want to pay $200 to $300 for the T-Spark IDW Rodimus, then you can have both for $250+.
And then get frustrated in the middle because you're having issues trying to transform it because you don't like the transformation of the toy. That's also a big. I would say that's probably one of my biggest gimmick hang-ups is it looks good in this mode, but it doesn't look good in this mode. Or it looks good in both modes, but the transition from this mode to this mode is garbage. Like, I'm going to say it, HasLab Unicron. People hate the transformation.
And unfortunately, a lot of third party nowadays is look at a lot of the fans toy stuff. Look at. I'm not gonna say fans hobby seems to be pretty good overall, but there's some fans toy stuff, and especially on the earlier stuff like the fans project Stunticons. Oh my god, that motor! It took me 3.5 hours to get that Motor Master from trailer to robot to combine mode using both PL and MGO's videos. It still took 3 hours. The getting there is not half the fun on some of this third party stuff. And like you said on I have never transformed my Unicron because in my collection space, the planet mode is so absolutely overwhelming of a presence, and that's kind of what you associate with Unicron. I don't want to transform mine. I might one day. I got a couple hours to spare. But I ain't holding my breath.
So, let's get some final thoughts before we pop out of here, and then, we'll talk next week about a lot of the new reveals, including that sound wave that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
The Lego one? I thought we already talked about that one.
Oh, that thing's chump change according to this other thing being.
I love. Y'all go. I've talked my butt off. Y'all two go ahead and go first. I don't want to monopolize the time we have left.
Go ahead, Megamus.
Not really much left to say. I mean, we've said it all. What we think they could do, we have no idea what they're going to do. And like I said before, just because they do something that you don't really agree with doesn't mean it's not right for someone else.
And I 100% agree with Megamus, and I agree with Don on this. Collect what you want to collect. Don't crap on other people's dreams. It's that time of the year, guys. Let's be nice to each other. Help each other. Take those peg warmers, toss them to Toys for Tots, or donate them to a charitable cause. You know it's going to go to somebody that's actually going to want it. But
I guess,
yeah, go ahead.
I think it all boils down to is there's so much wrong in the world right now. Things that we want to change, we can't change. We don't have Q continuum powers to snap our fingers and fix it. This is our respite from what's outside our window. Let's not make this the way it is out there, because then none of us have an escape. Help your fellow collectors. Be nice. Let people enjoy what they want. And just don't be a Richard.
I 100% agree. Well, with that being said, we're going to sign off, and we'll catch you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Probably a little later. You guys know how it goes around here. We kind of drag our feet a little bit. Well, mainly me, but
Yeah, we walked to beat a different drummer. We've got him tied up in the closet back there.
Yeah. We have to let him out every now and then.
Yep.
We open up the door to give him some air, and that's about it.
Yep.
All right. Well, you guys say your good nights, and we're out.
Good night, everybody.
Not everyone. Take care.
Catch you guys next week.